Hi, I'm Stefan, the BMW DIY guy, and I want to show you how you can install the awesome wireless phone charger from Bimmertech into your BMW. All right, y'all, so let's talk about this project a little bit. I'm really excited to get this installed because, you know, while most modern BMWs have a wireless phone charger underneath your armrest, but let's be serious, my armrest is filled full of all kinds of other parts and pieces. I don't stick my phone in there because it's a hassle. So this is a great way of adding wireless charging where you can get exactly to it, like a lot of the brand new BMWs that come with a wireless charger actually in your tray where you set your phone in. And if you watch some of my new car reviews, you know how much I love it, and I'm always throwing my phone in that. So to be able to add this wireless charger into your tray section of your dash is a fantastic upgrade. This is really easy to do. It only takes a few simple tools and not a long install at all. So let's go ahead and walk through it and I'll show you how you can do this yourself. All right, y'all, let's jump into this. So there's some of these component pieces we need to take apart. It's really not hard. So make sure to lift your armrest. The center trim piece is gonna come out. Now, if this has been out before, you can frequently loosen it with your fingers, but if it's super tight like this one is, you'll actually wanna use a plastic trim tool and very gently work underneath the trim to start working it up, because it's actually held down by a series of clips. It's just pressure fit into place. So, and you want to be gentle when you do this, when you pull this up. You don't want to make any marks. Make sure to use a plastic trim toolkit. Don't use metal tools on anything that's plastic. Okay, so go ahead and work a plastic trim tool underneath the edge of your trim right here and work it up slowly. Once this comes free, there's a single cable that plugs into your iDrive controller and you can unplug that. Take this and set it aside. I'll show you how to remove the center trim next. All right, so as you can see, the trim is out. I just wanted to show this really quickly. There's one of these classic little blue plugs here at the bottom of your iDrive controller. So just slowly, gently work at that. Now, I really kind of hate these plugs, candidly, because they're super tight. There are times that you think that there's maybe a clip holding them down or they're secured somehow, but they're not. They're just crazy tight. Also, if you use tools on these, you can tend to chew the plug up. So if you really do get to a point where you feel like you have to use something to pry this out, try to get an edge under your plastic trim tool or something similar. Don't use metal. I've used pliers on these before to try to back one of these plugs out and I've mangled the plug. So just be really careful with that. Okay, so now your trim is out. So go ahead and take that and set it aside. While you're here, you have a T20 bolt right here you can take out, and we're gonna take the center surround here out next. So when this comes out, again, plastic trim tool is your friend. You're gonna wanna very carefully get underneath between the edge of the cover and the entire rest of the frame to pry this up. So once this pops free, you can carefully lift it up and over the shift selector itself. All right, so actually I really came at this top corner edge is where I could get my tool in the easiest, and then the centerpiece is pried up and out really easily. Just feed it up and over the top of the selector. So you can take this T20 out right here that I mentioned a second ago, and then you have your selector buttons on this side. Really the easiest way to do this is just to get a finger up and in, because you've got two clips on either end of these buttons, and you've got to push this whole assembly back and out, and then you can unplug it. So I really find it's really easiest just to get a finger in here. You can get a finger on that clip and you can start to press back, and then the whole thing is going to lift up and out and unplug it. Directly underneath this is another T20. So once you get your buttons out, go ahead and take that T20 out, and then we're going to walk through getting the rest of the whole assembly out, and at that point you're already half done. All right, so you know, this button assembly can be really tight. It really is a matter of getting your finger in and pushing it back enough that this front clip will come out, then you can walk it out. You can see that it's unplugged now, and the T20 here underneath is out. So now, this next process, there's a whole series of just pressure clips that run around the perimeter of this, holding it into place. So you just have to work your fingers underneath, and depending on your car. Now, all of the trim in this car is really tight. So where in other cars, I could just use my hands to slowly pry it up. You may want to use a plastic trim tool as well. Don't be surprised as you go through this process. And let's see if we can get one pop now as we sit here. Yep, just like that. It can sound like a pretty significant pop as these clips come loose. This was really, really tight. Okay, so lift this front edge, pick it up, and then the hooks in the back will come loose. Now what you'll see here underneath is this is actually your sensor for like your comfort access and the like right here. So you'll want to unplug that and also reach under here and unplug your lighter socket as well. So go ahead and take both of these and plug them out, or unplug them, and then lift this whole assembly away back over to your workbench or a table, and we're gonna cut the groove that we need for the power run for the new charging pad. All right, y'all, so forgive any background noise, another busy day in my neighborhood. So as you can see, the trim piece is out, and you've got your sliding door. So when you look at your door, you can see when the door comes back right here, this is where it sticks through, and running a cable through there is gonna get pinched, and it's gonna mess with your door moving, and the cable will get rubbed on. So all we're going to do is cut a very small groove here in the plastic for the cable to come through. So the first thing you wanna do is go ahead and shut the door, just poke out and go ahead and get the rubber mat out and take that and set it aside. We're not gonna be reusing that, and it's gonna come out and come away. You can also see when you look at it, when you look into the trays, there are these little holes where the actual charging pad is gonna snap into once we're done. So let me grab the charging pad, and we're gonna do kind of essentially a dry fit. Don't snap it into place yet, because you wanna see where the cable comes through, and we're gonna mark it with a pencil. All right, so I've got the pad sitting here. I took the rubber mat off for now, but it's not pressed and locked into place yet. But as you can see, the cable comes through. And then you can also slide the door back a little bit just to see where it goes, because there's actually a slight notch even in the door track itself, and you can use that as a guide to where the cable is going to go. So then just take a pencil and just mark either side of where the cable is going to go. Now, you can use a small file, you know, there's a bunch of tools you can use to cut a small groove right here. In this case, I'm actually gonna use my Dremel tool with just a burring bit on it, a small, narrow burring bit to just work through this and do it more rapidly. Okay, so go ahead and take this back, slide the door back open. You can take the charging pad back out just like that. And you can see your marks right here of where you want to cut that groove through the ridge right there. So just work at it slowly, work through the center, make a groove, test fit it again until the cable fits perfectly and flush. And the best way to test is just by opening and closing your door to make sure that it's opening easily and not hitting the cable. All right, so go ahead and get that cleaned out next. All right, so you can see I've secured the cable in place, and what you can do is you can lay it in and lay a little bit of tape and then use super glue and just put it underneath this flange so it's out of the way. Wrap it around, put it through this groove, and make sure it's in a place where you can still get to the plug. All right, so now all you have to do is just walk it back into the car, and then we can look to plug the adapter in that plugs in here, plug it into all the original wiring harness, and you're done. All right, so now we're back in reassembly. What you're going to want to do is to go ahead and take your adapter that you've been given. You're going to want to plug it into the original wiring harness here and then plug it into your cable in the bottom. Okay, so this is just going to snap into place very simply on the existing wiring harness, and then this will plug into the bottom of your lighter socket in your tray assembly. You also have the plug at the other end. This is for your charger, so make sure to plug all that in. So as we walk this all back into place, you're going to see where all this goes. And obviously this is the original OEM cable for your comfort access sensor right there too. So as you take all this, you just simply tip it back into place. Make sure that all your cabling is exposed where you can see it easily. Get it over your shifter handle so you don't scratch this up or ding it up at all. You can take your plug for your buttons and feed them up through as you go. But go ahead and just plug all of this back in. When you fit the tail end of this back in, and I'm not going to do it yet, you just fit the tail back in and press it down, and all these clips will press down back into place. Okay, so let's do that, and then we'll get the buttons in, and you're almost done. All right, so you can see it's back into place, and like I said, you just tip that tail end in and slowly rock it down. Make sure if your cables are still out where you can get to them, and press those clips back into place. Go ahead and put in both of the T20s to secure it back in, and then you can put your switch back in as well. You just take it and you're just gonna push the plug right back into place. Make sure it snaps in. I'll usually put this tail end in first, and you just slowly rock it into place. You just kind of get that clip in and press it in and snap it down, which is all good. You can put your center surround back on as well. Just fit it over your gear shift and press it solidly back down into place. And then same thing here for your iDrive and center trim. Just plug your iDrive controller back in, lift your armrest if you closed it, fit it back down into place, make sure it settles well, and you're all good. At that point, you're just going to test all of your functionality to make sure everything works. Check your charging pad. I pulled the little rubber mat off of it while I worked with it, so put the rubber mat back on. Test your door to make sure it opens and closes just fine as it goes. Okay, and you're set and done. All right, y'all, so go ahead and plug everything back together now. When this is all plugged back in, first of all, you should have confirmation you have power because you have a blue light here of when it has ambient power. All right, if you do ever have any problems or if you don't have power here, check all of your connections to make sure that they're solid. And worst case scenario, make sure you don't have a blown fuse on your lighter socket itself. So go ahead and check that. But just quick confirmation, throw my phone on here. Yeah. Man, I love that. Goes from blue to green, showing that it's charging. This is such a cool setup, and what a great feature to have it here in your car and to retrofit in. So go ahead and put your tools away, clean up. All right, y'all, so go ahead and clean up and put your tools away. Hey, thanks to Bimmertech for making such a fantastic product to work with. Really simple, really easy, and as you can tell, the install is quick with only just a couple of tools. So I highly recommend this, as you can add this technology into your car if you don't have it. Please click subscribe and the little alarm bell. It makes a huge difference to my channel. I really appreciate it. I have a ton of content coming up that I'm really excited to share with you, and I'll see you on my next video.